This is Gam Chat. My name is Greg.
I'm McCoy.
And I'm D.
We're three Filipino gay guys trying to make sense of anything and everything in the world today. Welcome to our podcast.
Hi guys. How was your week?
Mine was good. I think I drank a lot this week. I don't know, is it releasing too much? We were working on Gam Chat podcast stuff, and it was really stressful for me, so I had to drink while I was working on some things. But other than that, look forward to it. Yeah.
Well, maybe you're getting ready for this episode of Gam Chat.
Yeah.
My week
Pre-gaming.
My week was okay, let's be honest. It was very smoky in Cali this week. We have so many fires. The skies turned orange, like our president, and we were not able to really go out. I couldn't go out to do my run, my 6 mile run, because it was air quality is so bad in California right now. But besides that, I think I'm doing pretty good. How about you, McCoy?
Oh, mine was okay. I binge listened one of the podcasts I follow, Cripsilog, and I finally caught up. So that's an accomplishment because I have 80 or 100. I don't know how many, but it's a lot.
What is that podcast about?
True crime, but they're based in the Philippines. So yeah, it's interesting because they deal with true crime, which I'm really not into. I didn't think until now. So the first season they dealt with, well-known serial killers here in the US, I believe. And then second season they did aswang in the Philippines. And then third was crimes in the Philippines.
Wait. Aswangs are real?
Well, one of the hosts, he doesn't believe it. But, they just kind of dealt with the history of it and what people say about it.
Aswang is a witch, right?
No, that's mangkukulam or mangbabarang.
What did you just call me?
Aswang is like a monster. I think the fair thing to say would be a monster, right?
Yeah.
Because there's really no specific thing of what it is.
Okay, I remember my of hearing so many different stories of the Aswang, so I'm like, ooh, okay. So what else, McCoy? You were listening.
Anyway, so yeah, I finished that, so I caught up, which is good. And then what else did I do? I just worked. But for some reason, I really shouldn't say this because someone at work might be listening. I was in a daze. I don't know why. Maybe the weather, maybe the fires. I have no idea.
It's the smoke.
Yeah.
It's all the orange sky.
Yeah, it is kind of scary to step out now. I mean, I usually would walk our dogs before I go to work, but I haven't just because it makes your eyes tear. Even if you're wearing a mask, you really have to wear that N95 mask. So, people, wear your fucking mask. Now you have more reason to wear a mask. Not just COVID. It's because you will literally get sick from the smoke. So, wear your fucking mask.
Why did I just heard a feedback?
I combined it with ASMR, so hopefully that will come across.
Wear your mask.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm with you on that one. It's been crazy. So I didn't let my auntie go outside today because I was like, or this past week, because she has asthma. I was like,
Is that just today or every day?
Since 1988.
You don't let her out, right?
Just don't let her out. Just don't let her out.
All she does is cook your turon.
Yeah, no, but honestly, yeah, especially for them, because, I mean, the older people have respiratory issues, so you have to really watch out for them. So
yeah, I felt almost I felt like I was coming down with asthma. I don't have asthma, but I felt like I was having it, or maybe it was just me being paranoid. Could be a little bit of both. All right, so today's episode, dun 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 dun, it is called Wine and Sex. So here's what we're doing this episode. All three of us is choosing their own bottle of wine, and what goes really good with wine? Sex. So we are going to be talking about wine and sex. So let's be honest, it's just going to be about sex while we're drinking. So McCoy, what are you drinking?
yeah, wine for the next 1 to 2 minutes. There you go.
We should be called this episode Wino Sex. Well, that doesn't make sense. Never mind.
I just got that.
Just so everyone knows that right now, McCoy just finished his bottle of wine before we even started.
I did.
And McCoy, what wine are you drinking?
Well, I followed decent
Or did you?
where I drink.
Yeah, past tense. Sorry, yeah, correct. Past.
I followed this advice and I got Riesling.
Ooh, that's a good one. It's like a dessert one, right?
Yeah, but I wanted Pinot, but I thought that was gonna get me like drunk. But Riesling wasn't as light as I thought it would be.
I'm sorry.
Well, because I thought he likes sweet stuff. That's why
I
was like,
do.
okay, stick to the Riesling.
No, I do, but I'm like thinking, oh, it's a dessert wine. I don't think it's gonna hit me that bad. Oh, I was wrong.
So just for everyone to know, dessert wines are like creepers. Like they'll just creep up on you.
Yeah.
Like they'll knock you out. But Riesling is really good.
Yeah, but that's kind of like one of my fantasies for someone to creep in. So it
See?
kind of works.
If you hear a thud later, that's McCoy just passing out in the middle of conversation. I can't say it's $2 chuck, but I got Rare Earth from TJ Trader Joe's, so it's a Cab Sauvignon. I've been drinking that for the last 2 weeks editing. It helped. So hopefully it will do the job today.
Wait, how much wine have you been drinking this week?
I bought 5 bottles.
Oh, wow.
And how many bottles do you have left?
I have 1 full bottle left because I have one that's open now. So
And there you
I've
have
been
it.
working. Yeah.
See, that's how you know he's working hard. Editing these podcasts. I'm drinking a rosé. Apparently, like I used to like making like rosé floats, which is what you could buy on a hot day. You get like vanilla bean ice cream, and then you put it in a big glass, and you just dump rosé in it.
Ooh.
It's not
That's
fancy.
a thing?
It's just my thing I created when I was
Oh.
when I was plastered somewhere.
when he was drunk already.
was.
Let me make this.
I was drunk and hot, and so I was like, "Oh my god, vanilla bean!" I'm like, "Oh my gosh, rosé would be so good with it." And then everyone started drinking it, so it's a thing now.
I'm surprised you don't get sick. It's like dairy with alcohol.
Wait, are you lactose intolerant?
I am.
I am now. Yeah.
Good to
Age.
know not to give you ice cream.
Oh, I still eat ice cream.
Yeah, we know, McCoy.
It's just a choice now.
Yeah.
It's just a choice now. Yeah.
Something you just have to suck it up, right? You just feel like so now that you guys all know what our wine selection is for this episode, so let's talk about sex. Start with like our first time with a guy. Does anyone want to volunteer to go first? I know McCoy does.
First time. My official first time that was consensual. Let's put it that way.
Wait. Did you want to do your disclaimer?
Oh, yeah. So, family, friends, if you want me to remain the asexual McCoy that you think you know, skip this episode or maybe skip my section. Because I don't talk about sex with my family, especially. So, to them, I'm like this asexual creature that doesn't need sex or doesn't have sex.
The asexual McCoy. All right.
Yes.
You're going to put him in the closet today, aren't you?
Whoa, yeah. Let's go. So,
Okay, no, you brought up a very good point, though. Consensual sex is what we're talking about specifically
Yes,
on this
yes.
episode. Okay.
yes. So, of course, my tool of choice was AOL.
I'm
So
sorry
my first-
for your act. You're doing it with AOL.
No, I mean like to hook up with people.
Oh, okay. I was like,
Yeah.
oh, okay.
So I met this
I
guy.
thought it was that like those equipment that they have.
I know. I was just like,
it vibrates. I'm like, wait, they had that for you?
I know, like you've got mail.
and it just vibrates.
I was
I
like,
didn't
that's
need-
McCoy's tool. All right.
I didn't need any tool, but yeah. So I met this guy, and he knew I haven't been with a guy. So he was very interested. You know, I don't know what they're called, but when they see I guess a virgin or something, I don't know. They get so like interested. So he came over. Let me just put my wine glass down. Let me just concentrate on talking. So he came over, and it was fun, but confusing. I didn't know if I was supposed to enjoy it. It's like an emotional explosion because I was scared, but at the same time I was excited and I was like turned on. The beginning part of it was so nerve-wracking, but once you get into it, I was like, oh, I get it. I get it now, yeah.
Wait, get into it. What do you mean get into it? Like, is this like, okay, is this your first time having like, dare I say, anal?
Once again, disclaimer. If you guys don't want to...
I think they've left the room by now. Like they left their phone on the table and just kind of like panic ran. So I think you're good. Don't worry.
I have never talked about this to my family. Never, not even one. I think some of them, a couple of them try to ask, top or bottom. Like, we're not discussing this ever. That's what I told them. But yes, it was that. And it was confusing because I was like, am I supposed to enjoy this? It's so weird. But once you get into it, you're like, yes, it's actually fun. And he was gentle about it, which I appreciated. But because he knows I haven't done that, he took advantage of that fact, and he did not use protection. I should have known better.
How old were you?
19. I should have known better, but because my dad pulled me out of sex ed in middle school, I didn't know any better. So to the parents out there, please teach your kids
how to put on a condom.
yes.
To use one?
Or-
my gosh.
Yes, or to demand it. So anyway, so after that, it was fun. Of course, I didn't know him, so that was kind of like the weird part. But because back then I thought gay sex was all about having sex with strangers.
Anonymity.
Yes, but of course the remnants of my religious self was still there. I felt guilty afterwards. Guilty. So that, when I said, I think one of the episodes I said, like, I took a shower and I was like so upset and I had to pray. It's like, that's the scene in the shower.
Aww.
Yes, because I felt guilty. I felt
ball
wrong.
in a corner.
Yes. And then I deleted AOL for 2 weeks. I
2
didn't get
weeks.
back. Well, yeah.
And that's a lot because you have to really like uninstall the app, and if
Yeah.
you want to, it's a commitment if you're gonna
Yeah.
delete it,
Uh-huh.
not just like now.
Wow.
So
times are so different in the 70s.
Oh my God, fuck you. Anyway, so I got back into it because I was like, I enjoyed it, and I was like curious. I was like, oh, it was actually fun when I let go of all the guilt and all that.
Wow. Okay. Yeah. No, I relate to that. I mean, when it's like when you said like, your family thinks you're asexual. Like, why do like our families think because we're gay, lesbian, bisexual, trans, like they have to think that we're asexual? We're like sexual
Well-
human beings.
Well, with me, it's like I made it a point not to discuss sex with them. That's just my thing. Like, I don't want you asking if I'm a top or a bottom because it's really not your business, and I don't feel comfortable talking about it with them.
Well, it makes sense.
Because I feel like they're not gonna get it. I feel like I'm gonna get judgment. But with you guys know.
Judge all the way.
Yeah.
That's what we're here for, to judge. How about you, D? Your first time?
It was the same thing. It was AOL. It was just more of like, I feel bad to say it, that it was almost a task. It was like, I need to get this out of the way because I want to make sure like it is what I actually wanted.
Wait, I'm sorry. Wait, no,
that kind of
not
thing.
that kind of thing. What do you mean by that?
No, yeah, it was like, okay.
Were
let
you
me
peer
go
pressured by
online.
this?
No, not really. It was just more like myself thing. Like, is this what I want? Is like I equated sex to sexuality. And I mean, this is gonna be a longer discussion. We're gonna separate that, but that's how I needed to determine. Am I gay? What like, do I really want to do this? So I went on AOL. Unfortunately, it wasn't GAM. For GAM at that moment, I did my dirt in another room because at that time I had to, and it was like, yeah, let me find. It was dumb. I think the way I went about it was dumb. I hooked up with someone, picked me up many blocks away from our house because I'm like, you're not going to know where I live. But at the same time, they picked me up, I went to their place, and I easily could have been murdered, but luckily I was stabbed in a different way, probably.
Oh my God.
Wait, I'm sorry. Repeat that again. I did not hear that.
He was stabbed in a different way.
And I got it out of the way. So I got it out of the way.
So you were okay. All right.
That was my thing. It was like, okay, let me get this out of the way because I need to know if this is what I want. And I mean, it was, luckily he was, it was a good person that I met at that time. It was a repeat customer, if you want to say. Even though I didn't get paid, I did get driven everywhere I wanted to go. But it didn't turn into a relationship because it was weird. I don't know, it was a ploy, but he had a picture of him and a girl everywhere. So I was hoping he wasn't married or with someone, but like, yeah, casually I've noticed I'm like, oh, who is this girl? But I didn't say anything. I was just like, do the deed, leave, drop me off. Okay, let me know when you want to come back again. But yeah.
Wow. You did it for confirmation.
Yes. So it was like baptized.
And then once you got stabbed, you're like, it's confirmed.
Okay, yeah. It was like, yay.
Hallelujah. It's a confirmation.
Tomorrow again, right? At 7 p.m. Pick me up. So it was pretty. But I don't think it was traumatizing for me.
Well, D, you didn't have the religious guilt like I did.
Yeah. Okay, so speaking of religious guilt, so my first time
was with a priest.
All right. Well, they would hit on me, but I wouldn't respond.
Right.
Anyhow. Yeah, they give good back massages, but I was just like, what is that?
Right.
Anyhow.
Oh my god.
Oh my god.
What? It's true. They would. Anyhow. No, okay, so my first time, it's interesting you bring up like religion into it. So I was chatting with a guy that I met on a classified ad. This is like when I was super young, maybe like 16, 17, probably 16. And I was just like you said, I need confirmation. I feel like this is right. I should do it. And so I was chatting with this older guy that I met on a classified ad. And I remember this specific moment because I was hanging out with all my friends, my straight friends in high school. And we were going to the beach. And on the way back late at night, I was going to hook up with this guy, And then, so I was on my way. I was driving from Huntington Beach, which is like 20 minutes away, 30 minutes away, to my house late at night with all my friends. And I literally prayed to this. I said, all right, God, give me a sign if this is right. And so I did this prayer, and then 20 minutes later, maybe 30 minutes later, I felt a little pain in the back, my lower back. I said, that's odd. So when
did you start having sex already?
No, I did not.
Okay, it was before. Okay.
This is all before. And then when I got home, the back pain got worse and worse. And I was like, what is this? I was like, I did pray for a sign if this is right or wrong. And it turns out that I had a kidney stone that night.
Oh my God.
And I swear to God, I thought this is a sign from God not to have sex, but not to hook up with this particular person. So there was some religious, aspects to it. And I think it was a good sign. Now my first time.
What? Oh, I was gonna say wait.
Okay, so you didn't defy God's like
demands or orders.
And be like,
I listened.
Like,
I listened to God.
No matter what.
I was in so much pain. I had to go to the hospital that night. And so, but that was one moment, and I was thinking, okay, well, that was not to do that one with that particular person. But my very first time was actually with my first boyfriend I've ever had.
Oh, so it was like all romantic and shit.
So romantic. It was so romantic. It was on my waterbed.
So this was the 70s.
Right. They have water beds in 2000.
You mean in the 80s?
They had water beds, okay? And here's my thing about it. Like, no one ever tells you how painful it is. Like, you guys talk about like it's like rainbows and unicorns.
I did not say
that
rainbows.
That is painful.
Oh, no. Fuck no.
Maybe you got the wrong guy. Maybe that boyfriend was like not good.
Oh wow. Sorry. He was good.
No, I meant like he didn't know how to ease into it, is what I'm saying.
Describe.
Like, what is it? Like, by easing into it?
You can't just shove it in.
Stab someone.
Yes.
Like D was. D was stabbed in an alleyway.
You have to like ease into it and gauge the reaction of your partner to see how they're taking it. Be vocal. Get signs.
Communicate.
Communicate if it's okay. If it's because I've had times where I'm just like, get out, give me a minute, and yeah, I'll be okay. And then we tried again, and it was fine.
So you have to do like an like in-person survey.
Yeah, like it's like a census.
Wow. Yes.
A census. You know what? I just realized. You know what really irritates me with a guy when you do it for the first time, or like anytime he's like, "Yo, just let me put the tip in. Let me just put the tip in." That tip hurts.
And you're like, "Hey, here's a tip." No.
Here's the tip. F off. That hurts. Yeah, I think the right lube, the right breathing exercises. Like you have to breathe. You have to breathe through it.
Yeah, it's not like a Band-Aid where you just fucking rip it off and then it's out of the way. No. Like even, especially if you take a break, things go back to normal. So you have to take it slow. And for God, use lube.
Oh yeah.
Please. If we can walk away now, it's only been, 10 minutes on the conversation or so. If the thing that you can take is use lube. That's your takeaway from this episode.
Well, it's lube and communicate. Like, yo, like.
Oh, so it's like wine and sex, lube and communication.
Exactly.
Okay, are we changing the title now? Is that what it's gonna be?
I think that's a really good idea, actually. All right, so so that was your first times, right? That was all our first times. So have you guys I don't know, try new things?
Like a fetish?
Yeah.
Well,
We don't judge. Hey, this is a safe space.
Yes.
If you're gonna judge, do it behind closed doors.
Or leave a comment, please.
Well, I don't know if you guys know about this, but my fetish, I think it's considered a fetish. It's like voyeurism.
Really?
You didn't know that, Greg?
Well, you've told me stories. I'm trying to pretend like I've never heard it for the first time.
Okay. So
It was like shock.
Wow, didn't see that one coming. That's called sarcasm.
So, of course, consensual. I like to watch and to a certain extent be watched. People doing sexual acts on themselves, people having sex with each other, and I'm watching different types. I mean, I had when I was living in New York, I had a very interesting experience. So I hooked up with this guy. So I came over, very good looking guy, and he knew what I was into. I came over to his apartment, beautiful apartment. He knew what I was there for, and he was willing to put on a show, I guess. And he was like,
Sorry, that was so gay. It was like judging the apartment before you do anything. Okay. Course on point.
It really was. It really, really was. So he was like, hopefully you're okay with this, but can I show you something? And I was like, sure. So he went to his room and then he came back maybe like 2 minutes later. And guys, he was putting on his own Victoria's Secret fashion show.
Wait, what?
For me.
Like he had wings and everything?
No, well, not without the wings, but he's into wearing female underwear.
Oh.
Like really, really sexy one. Yeah. So I'm like thinking, what the fuck? I'm not sure if I'm into this, but he's willing to give me what I'm into. So let's just be open. And it was very interesting. It was very engaging. It was very sensual in a way. So anyway, so he was putting on a show and he wasn't done. His window, those New York apartments have really, really big windows.
So he had a nice apartment.
Yeah. So he had one of those New York apartments with like really, really big windows, and he has like a little ledge. I don't know what it was. He got on top of that ledge and he proceeded to put on a show for his neighbors.
Wait, outside or inside the window?
Well, inside the window.
Okay. I just don't want.
But he was
like an SVU.
And then he pulled it out and he was like touching himself while he was giving his neighbors a show and me, and I was like, oh my god, he's so intense. And Yeah, I don't want to go into any more details than I already did, but
I think the only thing that's missing is like his name and an address. So you've given us everything.
So anyway,
you can't
so
go back.
okay, fine.
Yeah,
So
what's the corner of this show?
well, so he proceeded to like get on the floor and then touch himself, and then he proceeded to make me happy. So anyway, so that happened maybe a few times. I don't know, like 3 or 4 or 5. I don't really remember.
So you had a repeat customer.
Oh yeah,
That's what
definitely.
it was.
But you
Now,
know
there
what?
was
I gotta say though, this is like really safe sex. So I'm really proud of you, McCoy.
Yeah, I mean, I had experiences of voyeurism here in LA too, but I had an experience which I was not gonna repeat. I'm not gonna judge him for his little thing, for his like little fetish, but I shouldn't say little fetish, for his fetish, and he's into that. But
All right,
so,
wait. Before we go into this, would you say
Yes.
this is like the worst sexual
I didn't say it's the
experience?
worst. No, it's not the worst.
It was
But it's
interesting.
It's
top.
interest.
The top 5?
Oh, you mean the voyeurism? My voyeurism?
No, this experience you're about to tell us.
Oh, maybe top 3 that I wouldn't do again.
Wow. Okay, what is it?
It's.
It was like just to check it off your books. That's
I
it.
didn't even know it was gonna happen. I only came over there so he could make me happy, and that was the arrangement. But he had something else in mind. So anyway, so I came over. The apartment was okay.
Wow, okay.
So I was sitting on his bed, and so he was on the floor with his knees apart. So my legs was like in between his knees. Can you guys picture that? And he was. Yeah,
Wait,
so
I
he
need
was.
I need to take a sip for this because this is a lot of visuals for me right now.
So he was fully naked, and then he was performing for me. Let's put it that way. And then he asked me a favor. He was like, "Can you kick my balls?" And I said, "What?" Yeah, he was like, "Can you kick my balls?" I'm like,
Oh my god.
like, okay. So I tapped it with my toe, and it was like, "No, harder." I was like, "Oh shit!" I had to try 4 different times with 4 different levels of intensity, and he still wasn't like. He asked for more, like harder. Guys, I could feel that on me. Like I could feel it. Like I can imagine how it feels, and I was like, "Oh." Shit. So let's put it this way. He wasn't fully satisfied with my performance.
Wait, how many times did you kick him in the balls?
Like 5 times. He wanted it to be harder, but
Like, are you
I
kicking
couldn't.
it like a soccer ball? Like you're like, I'm like David
He
Beckham
wants me
and
to
I'm make a
kick it
goal.
like- Yes, like that's how he wants it. I mean, come on.
Like, see, like the visuals shifted for me. It's not even sexual anymore. It's just more of like those Krav Maga moves where, like, how do you get away from a, like a, like a hold? That's where it shifted. Like, yeah, that is an uncomfortable, not just for him.
Well, no,
like, a
he's into
position
it.
to be in.
Oh, he's
Yeah.
into it. He kept asking for more and for harder, but I wasn't. And I mean, oh God, I tried giving him what he wants, but it was painful for me to be doing that.
At least it's good to know that you also cater to them, not just like a one.
Of course, I mean, like I came there so he could, make me happy, and it's also my job to make him happy. I just didn't know that's the kind of joy he wants.
So how did this thing finish off?
Oh, I finished.
Well,
And then I was
how?
like, well,
Like
you're
just kicking, and then like when do you get time to like not kick?
No, eventually I stopped, and he also stopped asking. I think he kind of got the hint that I wasn't gonna kick him
Is this with a shoe or with your bare foot?
with my bare foot, so I could feel it.
Sorry, I think I just
If I was wearing my shoes, maybe I could have kicked him because there's no like skin to skin contact, and you don't know how hard you're kicking him. But come on, no.
All right, this hurts me. D, what is one of your top 5 worst experiences with sex?
Oh wait, guys. Okay, first, I don't want to say that's the worst because it wasn't as bad for me. Then I don't know. That's kind of wrong for me to say it's the worst. I would never repeat it. I would never repeat it. Let's put it that way.
Worse, I don't have any worse experiences.
I hate you already.
It again, it was just to me like I use sex as like, is it what I want? Let me try it. If I don't like it, then I, cross it off my list and never do it again. But in the early stages, it was more of like adventurous things that I liked. So it was rather like, yeah, I guess it was like it'd be public. It was like the sneaking around is what I wanted. So I can't go into details because I'm married, but it was with him too. So
I know this story.
Okay. Wait a minute here. McCoy knows the story. I don't know the story. This is not about public
McCoy,
sex.
McCoy, no.
Finish the
I know a
story,
lot.
McCoy.
I can't share that.
finish
For the
the
audience.
story, D.
Well, let's just say that me and Mauro can drive around Los Angeles and kind of like chuckle once in a while because like a memory would pop up. So that's what we kind of. But yeah, I mean.
Mental note: stay away from Teslas.
Oh no, it doesn't have to be in a car. That's the thing. It could be outside the car. It can be in forests. It could be in
A shopping center.
as long, yeah. You mango famous signs maybe, but yeah. So
I agree.
obviously-
I have got kicked out of Urban Outfitters before.
okay, that's different.
Correct.
That's,
What?
Yeah, that's lazy. You have to be more creative than that.
Urban Outfitters is lazy to you? Wow, that says so much.
You have to make it worthwhile. You have to climb shit. You have to make sure it's like Mission Impossible. There you go. There you go.
James Bond. Okay. So I'm thinking about like one of my top like worst, and I'm very sex positive in the sense like, I'm not gonna judge anyone for their sexual interest or fetishes because it's a slut free zone. Like you don't have to slut shame anyone. But I did realize one line that I will not cross. I was dating a black guy, this beautiful black guy, and he was a really great guy. And when we got into like sex, and it was like, wow, this is really good. And then he said to me, it's okay if you call me the N-word.
Oh no. Oh.
I know. I was just like, what? So yeah, just call me the N-word. And I'm like, no. And I kept on saying that over and over again. Like I was starting like a lawnmower machine. And he looked at me, I was just like, I don't know what to do. And I was like, no. And I had this like wincing face. Like I was like, oh, I can't do this.
Yeah, that's hard.
And like I'm down for a lot of stuff.
Yeah, we know, Greg.
But I couldn't do it. Like that was like, okay, I can't do that. Like I could do a lot of stuff, but I can't do that.
Actually, you know what? I will give you credit. I will not straight out say no to a lot of things, but hearing that fact, I'm like, no. I think that would be my walking away point as well.
For real. I was just like, oh, and you're such a good guy, but I just can't, satisfy that N-word. I just can't do it.
And I've never had like, I can say like I'm thankful that no one has asked me to do that because, I mean, when I say I did my dirt somewhere else, it wasn't in the Asian community. It was the same thing. And like how did you guys end that? Like, what was your getaway move for that?
When you go that like, oh, I'm tired. Or when you like plop next to them, like, oh, like that was really good, wasn't it? Yeah. Huh. That's how you get out of it. Or you say, you're like, oh, I don't feel sick, I'm gonna vomit. So that usually works for me.
Which is your go-to.
That's my
Yeah,
go-to
that's
to
your
get out of
thing,
any
yeah.
situation is just say that you're gonna throw up. It really works.
It's like you didn't drink, you didn't eat or nothing, and you just want to say,
yeah, like I just can't do it.
But you know what? One of these days, that's not gonna work for you. Because what if that person is into that?
It was like, yes, please, right here on me.
Like, oh.
It's like, what is that video? I've never watched it before, by the way. That
Which
two
one?
girls in a cup video. Have you
my
guys heard
God.
that?
Oh my
Have
God.
you guys seen it?
I watched it. Yes, I've seen
No,
it.
you did not watch it.
Yes, I did.
Oh my
I
God.
sure did.
I think I watched a second of it and I couldn't afterwards. So
Yeah, I would never watch it again. I have no interest in it. I'm not judging anyone who is into that, but I'm not into
it's okay. It's okay to say that's not for you.
Yeah,
but
it's not.
You can't. Oh, is that right to say you can't yuck someone's yum? But then it's what the topic is.
Well, they're yucky.
You did not just say you can't yuck someone's yum. I can't take that right now. I just can't take that. Like, how fitting is that comment? Like, you can't yuck someone's yum, right? For that one. All right. All right. So now that we talked about like our new experiences and just like crossing our like learning where our threshold is what it really is, right?
Yeah.
We knew what our threshold is. So let's go into what is some dangers about sex that you've experienced.
Well, the unsafe sex, unprotected sex, that's dangerous. So you have to be hyper aware of that. Also, I think I had an experience where, it was well known in the community that I was very sexually active. Let's put it that way. And I guess this guy got this idea that, oh, he's easy. So so they picked me up, and I thought we were just gonna hang out and just gonna get some drinks or whatever. No, they brought me back to their place. There were like a couple at the time. And one of the guys proceeded to get on top of me and started to undress me. And I was like, what is going on? And apparently he wanted his boyfriend, who's never topped before, to top me. And I said, we're not doing this. This was not what we agreed on. I'm not in the mood for this. I was just not into it. Now, if they had asked me beforehand, maybe I would have considered it. But the fact that they tricked me and then they proceeded to undress me without my consent. So I said no, and I absolutely said no. Like, no, no, no. So they ended up taking me home. Well, the boyfriend took me home, and he apologized when he took me home. And I was like, it's fine. It's really not your fault. I don't think it was his idea. I was upset because I felt like I was violated.
I think that's good because then, that's one thing I would make sure everyone knows is that if you feel unsafe, you have to vocalize it.
Yeah.
I mean, that's one thing that the only thing that I would change is safety wise. I would have been more cautious. At that time, I wasn't really out to anyone else. I think after a call, once we all hung out as a group, at one point I was your guys's, hey, if I get a text of an address,
Yes.
I know, like, okay, if this bitch disappears,
Yes.
this is the last address that she was at.
Yes, that's
and
so
I was
true.
like, this is the address I'm going to send to the police. So you have to have that, I mean, anonymous sex, everyone has these apps now, grinders. Maybe I'm just too old and haven't been in the scene in a while, but if you have a core friends or group, person that you trust, right now you can't hook up because of COVID, so don't fuck it up for everyone for everyone else. But when time comes, everyone is allowed to do that again. Have a backup. You have to consider your safety just in case as well.
Yeah. Like I agree with that, and you give me flashbacks of so many times where I went to the club and I got inebriated, and I was just like, I've left with people who I may not really know for a long period of time. You really need like friends that you could be like, yo, I'm gonna do this. Here's the address. Here's where you find me to keep you safe, and then also know what your exit plan is, right? You're not be like, yo, I mean, I think there's so many people out there that will love to take advantage, especially if you're young, or not even if you're young, if you're just vulnerable at a certain time. You just have to know your limits. On that note, the winos need to take a break. All right, let's take it back a notch. Let's take it back to almost the very beginning. What have we changed about our understanding of sex? How have we evolved from our first experience to who we are now? McCoy?
I think on the very first episode, I had mentioned how I thought the gay community was just all about sex, and I thought sex was the only thing I had to offer. So I was very active. I mean, don't get me wrong, I was exploring my sexuality at the same time, and I was having fun. But deeper than that, I felt like it was the only thing I could offer until I started making friends, and I said, like I could have a deeper relationship with people. And now, compared to then, now my idea of sex and how it evolves is not the only thing I can offer. I can offer a lot more. And also, when it comes to sex, if you care about someone that you're having sex with, the connection is so much deeper.
Yeah, it's interesting that you bring this up. Even from like earlier, you talk about your family seeing you as asexual. When I was at work, a coworker was talking to me about how her kids are in this high school and they're having like a Pride Month, a gay Pride Month, LGBTQ month at their kids' school, and she's like, "Well, I don't understand. Like, why do we have to talk about sex?" I was like, "Wait a minute. Why do you think that LGBTQIA plus people are all about the sex part? Like, it's about love, and it's not so much about the sexual act that defines us. It's about who we love." And then she's like, "Oh, I didn't think about that." And so when you're talking about your stories, McCoy, and your experiences, it reminds me of that like having man to man or woman to woman sex doesn't define who we are as individuals or the community. It's really about more than that. And sometimes we don't realize it till later on.
That's where I'm at right now too, is the complexity of just the word sex itself. I try to remind myself that it's not just the act. There's multiple layers to it. Sex can be complicated. Like you, Greg, I try to be as sex positive as I can. Whenever I hear someone who is talking about their experiences, just because you're not into it, it doesn't mean it's the wrong way. Again, it's layers to it. Obviously, there's red flags. You can question things when you see that it's not safe, but you have to be really open-minded to know if it's someone's preference or just really a harmful act.
Yeah. I feel like, early on, like people would define us with the sexual act, and it's actually more than that. Or they would try to shame us. And even within the LGBTQIA plus community, sometimes there are some individuals in our own community that will try to shame us for our interest. And we have to be very cautious and careful about that, and making clear boundaries. It's specifically about like consensual and what is safe for each individual. I remember early on in my early 20s that I asked like my gay friends, like, are you guys sexually liberated? Like, do you guys feel that you guys are sexually liberated now from the shame of like what heteronormative construct has put us in? Like, do you guys feel like you guys are sexually liberated?
As for me, I feel like I always have been. I mean, okay, going back in the day, people slut shamed me a lot. People judged me for me being very sexually open.
It was like Game of Thrones, like shame.
Yes, yes, I swear.
Yeah, no,
I was like,
I remember McCoy. McCoy, I knew of you before I actually met you.
well, what I told people was, you people are judging me because I'm open about my sexuality and the fact that I explore my sexuality, but you suck just as much dick as I do, except I'm open to talk about it because I want to share my experiences if anyone wants to hear it. You guys hide as if you guys are innocent, which you are not. So my thing is, stop slut shaming people because maybe they're just exploring their sexuality. They're getting to know themselves. There's nothing wrong with that. Someone broke up with me because of my reputation. And I said, that's fine. I don't need you in my life because, you're very judgmental apparently. So bye, next.
Do you know a moment when you feel like, well, both of you, do you guys remember like a moment where you feel like you were sexually liberated from all that shame and whatnot?
From the beginning, I've always looked at it that way. I think that's why I compare it to a task. It's like I just wanted to make sure I get it out of the way so I know for myself, not anyone else. But I don't see sex as how I still put a wall against outsiders. It really is just more about the sexuality, and that's what sucks. is that I'm still not into PDA because I have to protect myself from straight folks. I have to be careful around what how much they can tolerate. And it's not even about the sexual act. It really is just like if I happen to, feed a motto, out of my own fork while we're out in a restaurant, or like brush against his hands. It really is for my own protection. But sexuality wise, because that something is beyond closed doors.
Yeah, I think it's so interesting because as LGBTQIA plus community or just individuals in this community, like we have to, even just for our safety, right, of expressing love or emotion to someone that we care about, like it's deemed shameful, right? And I think that trickles down to how we express ourselves, even sexually, to our partners, internally. I think, like we maybe hold back a little bit because of, we can't even share, like feed our partner like a bite to eat in a food court, and I think that trickles down to us, like spiritually and mentally and physically, of what we do and how we express it in the bedroom. I mean, it's almost like interesting because I feel like as LGBTQI individual, we can or set our own rules because no one has set rules for us before. But sometimes I even find myself, at least early on, that I have to somehow conform to like heteronormative like rules, and I think those are bullshit rules.
I think I became sexually liberated when I came out to myself and I let go of all the guilt. Then I can freely explore my sexuality, and I was okay and I was having fun.
At what age did you feel that you were sexually liberated?
I was 19, I think. Yeah, I was 19.
Like, I feel like for me that I've truly been sexually liberated, honestly, like in only the past like few years of like releasing the guilt or the shame about engaging in like gay sex, for example. And I think a lot of that has to do with, honestly, with me just learning more about tantric sex. Of learning that, I think sexual energy or how we express ourselves is, how we express ourselves even to our own self, right? And not so much with other people plays a role with it. And then, growing up Catholic, I think has a role. I think growing up in a society that says like gay sex is wrong. And I think even in like Texas, it's still outlawed. If
I think that was
most
overturned
recently, right?
Yeah, by the court, I think. Yeah,
it was probably in the past, like 5 years, would you say?
It's very recent.
Very recent. And that just shows a lot. I mean, gay sex is even outlawed in Malaysia, in other countries still.
Yeah, it's if you open your grinder, I would know there's a warning that, same-sex relations or sex is outlawed in Malaysia. So be careful.
I mean, okay, so take it for someone who has done that in Malaysia. There's some excitement to it, but that expression from the government or by society in the law, like written in law, does play a harmful effect on our community.
Yeah, it does.
Recently, like I've discovered that in my own like practices and self-reflection, that I used to associate like sex with death.
What?
Yeah, because if you think about it, like when we were growing up, HIV/AIDS was always prominent.
Oh, yeah.
People who, had unprotected sex or were vulnerable, like young guys were getting HIV because they were taken advantage of by other guys. That thought that gay sex or expressing yourself is somehow associated to death or HIV/AIDS, which actually internally made me realize it was associated with sex. Like wow, that was a self-realization I think I had maybe like 3 to 4 years ago.
And that's very recent.
Yeah, it's very recent, and I think that's very sad.
Yeah.
I think that, denying someone in our community of their sexual expression, of who they are as humans, is just sad.
And you just triggered a memory that I really can't get into it. But yeah, that's one thing that I want to also release our community of the stigma, is that we are not the only ones who are being affected by HIV/AIDS. It's not just our community. And I think that's one thing that I want to I loosely call them breeders. Please understand. Yes, we are not the only ones who's affected by this. Yeah, that triggered a memory that someone casually mentioned that, and I was like, I do not want to get into it. But yeah.
So, closing off, like, what advice would you give to other individuals out there listening?
My advice would be to know your limit and to assert your right to say no. You can always say no. Don't feel pressured by someone. Just know your power. Say no if you're not comfortable. Leave if you're not comfortable.
D?
Really, just be sex positive. Just because you hear it and you don't agree with it doesn't mean it's wrong. Everyone has their own thing, whether it be sex work, kinks, fetishes. Take it. That's what they're into. Just because they said it out loud, it doesn't mean you're being forced to do it. And safety. I just hope at that point, I really wish it was instilled in me that safety was a thing. You have to protect yourself during the act, post act, and before the act. So it really helps if you have a group core that you can trust. So hopefully not everyone is privileged to have that, but if you can, try to practice that, because you have to watch out for yourself at the end of everything.
Yeah, I agree. I think my advice would be is to start with loving yourself. Like, learn how to define what love to yourself is, and that will lead you to what your limits are, what you know, what you don't like, what you're open to, what you're not open to, and that it's okay. And then also love in the sense of, don't shame anybody for their interests, because you don't know their whole story. Like, you don't know the trauma they've experienced that led them to think that this is the right thing, So I would probably say love yourself, and you know what? Breathe through your nose sometimes. It helps. like yoga practices work.
And you know what? And this is not just sexual. It's like, even like, when you feel like you're in a moment where you need to step away and analyze things, take a fiver for yourself. It could be like, before you sit on that dick, take a five. Do you really want to do that? Do you really want, if this is your first time, right? Like recognize it. Really have to check in on yourself, and that applies for everything.
Yeah,
that you do in life.
Yeah, like
like that.
Like, loving yourself is also meaning like douching. Like, to be clean. Like, I equate the two. It's like, if you love yourself, you would douche before the act, because it would help. It'd help with the whole experience. I'm on my 10th glass of wine, and this is where we're at. No, I think that's spot on. Let's do a really quick check-in. D, how many glasses of wine have you drank?
I had to finish the half a bottle that I have left from my last editing session. So I have one unopened bottle left. That's what's left.
McCoy?
Well, I finished the whole bottle. I don't know how many glasses that was.
So one bottle. So I think I'm actually at a bottle and a quarter. I think I'm at a bottle and a quarter.
Whoa.
It's just
I guess this is see, this kind of shows where you guys take drinking. Like, I do it when I'm stressed, so I can kind of release, so I didn't drink as much today, but you guys are more casual. Enjoyed it more.
I only drink maybe like once, probably 2 times a month. It's very like,
But yeah, red wine is supposed to be good for your heart, so I'm just doing that. That's my excuse.
Well, I think it's in moderation or something like that.
On that note, let's go into our Filipino word of the day. McCoy, so what is our Filipino word of the day?
The Filipino word of the day is haliparot.
Oh my god.
Oh my god, that's hard. Even I have to read it before I say it.
All right. How do we use it in a sentence?
When Greg was younger, he was very haliparot.
Wait, I don't think you said what it means.
Well, haliparot means flirtatious.
Okay.
Actually, that kind of applies to me. So
I want to do the breakdown of where that word came from, but I think that's going to be too deep, and I don't have the mental capacity to do that.
it
right
has
now.
like different meanings, and some of them very insulting. Well, not well. It depends on how you take it. You want me to look it up?
Yes.
Remember, we can't slut shame people, so
This is a safe space, so let's not
that's positive.
halapatot the other individuals.
God.
Did I use it in the correct sentence? Was that usage correct?
Hold on. Let me look this up.
Halapatot. Is that like otot?
rot.
Stop.
No, then that's making it nasty.
Wait, it's not
Rot.
like otot.
Rot.
How?
Rot. No.
Okay, so how does it?
Rot. Hali.
Hali?
Pa.
Pa?
Like a parrot.
Pa?
Parrot. Like a parrot.
Pa?
Parrot.
Pa? Parrot?
Yeah.
Okay.
Parrot at the end.
Like halipatat?
So I think it means it means flirtatious, like lande or hitad or kiri, mapanlimbang. I think it's like when you flirt for frivolous pursuit of fun and sex.
Fun
I
and
guess.
Or
sex.
to get your way.
I'm sorry, it really doesn't apply to you. It really applies to me. When I was younger, I was very
Thank
haliparot.
you. Thank you. As you all
I didn't
know,
mean-
McCoy
I
likes
didn't
to
mean to
talk
shame
about
you.
colors. AKA sex.
Wait, so
with these
Greg, do
individuals.
you know how to say it now?
Yeah, halipatot. Is that correct?
No, it's an R-O-T.
Hal-
Not T-O-T. R-O-T. Haliparot. Parrot.
Haliparot.
That's the,
Closer.
that's the closest we're
Close.
gonna
Is that
get
closer?
to it.
Yeah.
Haliparot.
That's the closest
Yeah.
we're gonna get to it.
It's French, right? Haliparot. All right. Well, that's our show. If you would like to comment or reach out to us, you can reach us at...
Oh, you can reach us on social media, on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook at GamChat Podcast.
Or you can email us at gamchatpodcast@gmail.com. And also, guys, if you want to start rating us on Apple Podcasts, if you really need help, I can FaceTime you, Zoom call, show you how it is. Leave us a 5-star comment if you like it. If you didn't, 5 stars as well. And then type in your comment and we'll disregard whatever negative thing you say. But it helps put us out there.
Thank you, D. You're very halaparot. So that's our podcast. Thanks for listening. Catch us on the next one.